8 years old with autism. Some ways that it impacted my life is it's really hard for me to make eye contact with people that I don't know well. I try my hardest, but sometimes it's really hard. Another way, I am very big on sensory needs, like I need to fidget a lot, and like noises, some certain noises make me like just go crazy and I can't be in the room. And people get mad at me for that, and I really wish that people like know that I'm not trying to do this. It's just a part of me, and I really hope people figure that out soon.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that self-advocacy journey and how that developed for you? Trying to dig a little bit deeper, my next question is for Jack, and my question for you is in so many different situations, which is why my next question is for Cici, about how you have self-advocated in school, and if you can share an example of that.
So one of the examples is not about me, but it was in a situation that I was in, and I don't do well in like situations, like hard situations, but at school there was a hard time where someone on the spectrum was like having a breakdown because something happened, and the teachers were kind of just getting all mad, and I felt really bad, so I told them they're probably on the spectrum, you need to give them a break. And I just feel like teachers, yes, they do understand that, but I feel like they need to just understand it more by giving them a break. Like, just kind of get away and maybe ask them if they need a break or something, because they do need a break, maybe. And it's really hard for them to go throughout school and not feel like they're not safe or something like that. And I wish teachers knew that.
Really incredible, so thank you for sharing. Now, kind of switch gears a little bit, my next question is Will. So, more power to you, because people on the internet, especially in dating, can be really weird.
Oh, yikes.
So, kind of to switch a little bit, since I know even through gaming, I've made friends before too, so that's also been pretty cool, but my next question for Cici is about what's helped you feel comfortable and supported when you're meeting new people or making friends.
Well, I really like being in a quiet environment. That way I can concentrate on what they're saying, and I'm not like trying to listen in on other people's conversations, because to be honest, I kind of do that sometimes. But it's also so I can give them my full attention, and in those situations I want to make eye contact with them so they know that I'm listening.
That's awesome. I still struggle to make eye contact with people all the time, and I feel like they've just learned that sometimes it doesn't mean I'm not listening. Like I'm listening, just I can't seem to do it. Also get distracted a lot. So, Aislinn, you face some really big challenges. Panel a little bit as well is this idea of executive functioning, so things like time management, staying organized, all these different things. So that's a struggle for many of us on the spectrum. And my next question for Race is, how do you navigate your time between work, your procrastination thing is so real. I feel like what has happened is for me is I just been like, oh, I perform well under pressure, and then I just feel like I can't seem to get the thing done. So that is very, very real. I appreciate you sharing that. So we're talking about kind of balancing all this stuff in life, and my next question for Cici is, can you share a little bit more about your involvement in extracurricular clubs and activities, because it seems like you're also doing a lot.
So, like I said, I'm 12 years old, and I've been doing ballet since I was 2, so for 10 years. Ballet is like my life. I love ballet. It comes first. But also, with ballet, there's like my ballet group, there's a lot of girls in it that I feel like are family, and I make eye contact with them every single time. Like, they feel like they're just like in my family. They feel like sisters to me, even the teachers do, and I'm super glad that I get to be with them. But I'm also knowing that once I go to college, I cannot be with them anymore, so I'm just trying to take it all the time that I possibly can before I'm going into college.
That is very cool. And my next question for Brian is, what your family, your workplace, or even just people that you've interacted with through different activities and passions, whether it's word service or in ballet or playing games or just people you know and who care about you. That is something that's really important that we've talked about and have learned is about our support systems and how they help people reach their goals. And I do have a question for the whole panel before we eventually go to wrap up, is can you share what things were the most helpful for each of you? Maybe just really quick as like a lightning round of something that was extremely helpful with your strategies, supports, or your support system that helped you the most. For whoever wants to answer first.
You want to do it?
Sure.
So my family and coworkers and teachers have encouraged me to try new things.
Short and sweet, that's really cool. Basically, there's always, with the support systems, keep on you, you might go back and forth on what it is you want and don't want. But if you really want to go for something, go for it regardless. Too often there's that fear of failure, or there's that fear of, okay, but what if I get this, then I'll be missing that, okay, then I'll be, this kind of thing. But you don't grow in a comfort zone. You grow when things are challenging enough, but you ask yourself time and time again, well, why does it have to be so hard? Why? And somebody say, well, that's life. Well, I get that, but it's also the support systems that you have make a difference, and all for the better or not. And my parents have still been phenomenal in that regard. And in adulthood, it's something that it's been an area of self-discovery that is really something that the journey can take you places you've never been. So that's what's been most helpful to me, and I'd encourage anybody else to do the same.
So, as I've mentioned, a big part of one of my biggest support systems has been my mom, or just my parents, my grandma, my aunt, and friends. But overall, I think when it comes to support systems, no one is really going to know yourself better than you, and you need to. A lot of those support systems, like family and friends, aren't going to be there forever, and a lot of times you are going to need to make your own decisions. You're going to need to figure out what you need, not what other people think that you need, and that's been a big struggle for me too, is seeking validation from other people, and really being more focused on what they think I should do rather than what I think I should do. And that is something I've really been working on with myself as well. And because, so for example, I tend, with my anxiety, there'll be times where I'll be like, let's just say there's like something like I can collect action figures. So let's say there's an action figure that, to me personally, may not function the way I think it's supposed to. So I'll go up to my mom or my dad and ask is there something wrong with this? When really they're not going to know as much about what that action figure is supposed to do, other than the person who owns it. So, and that's a really weird example, but it's the best thing I can really think of. But because again, you are going to know what benefits you the most. Those people like your mom, your dad, they're going to be there to help you, but they're not going to be there to magically make everything better. So you really got to take that initiative.
As for me, my parents, my grandparents, my teachers, and if you want to know what supported me really heavily at the government level, in the Illinois Department of Recreational Services, or the Illinois Department of Health and Human Services, I believe. That's also what is really, really helpful, and I'm very grateful for this opportunity I have been given. I honestly there's just no words I can say to just know how much I'm thankful for. Also, another thankful thing, I want to have a shout out to Nikki over there, and I don't know where she is, but Jackie, same birthday. They have helped me a lot when I was growing up, and I'd also like to extend my thank you to everybody who has. Again, from my parents to again, friends back there. Thank you.
So at the beginning, I did say that I hate some certain noises, and my parents have given me ideas of taking a break or going to get a vision, just try to use that to take my mind off of it, or we play music during when that happens, and it's really helpful, and it has gotten better, but sometimes it still isn't working.
Okay, we have one more question. I'm trying as hard as we can to keep us on schedule, and I know that it probably is getting in the way of everybody's break, but our final question to send us out on a positive note here as well is to make sure that we each have something to share with our audience and can share something that each of you is most proud of about yourself, or that one thing that makes you exactly who you are. This should be pretty quick, but I'm super excited to know more about that thing that you're most proud of to every one of our panelists.
So, I'm actually going to go first this time. I think the one thing that I am most proud of about myself is really just the fact that, how I mentioned before, how I have naturally have a lot of empathy for other people, but even really going further than that, I really just think that, the thing that really makes me who I am is that the first thing, whenever I first look at a person, whether I know them or not, the first thing that comes to my mind is seeing the good in them. I never really, it's never the first thing where I just go up to somebody and randomly think, oh, that person's a jerk, or that person is this or that. Because that's, if you're going by life just looking at random people and just thinking negative thoughts about them, you're not gonna grow up to be a person that is has goodness in them in themselves. And so yeah, I always, and I guess that could also be a weakness too, because it also would also mean that I could see someone who's just bad and then I will judge them for that. But I guess another thing that Nikki has suggested to me is I like to do voices.
Can you do one for us?
I can do Smeagol from, if you guys know who that is, from Lord of the Rings.
Let's hear it.
Stupid fat hobbitses. Right, Cici for mercies. It's a lot of us.
And I can also do Venom too, if you want me to do Venom.
That's really cool.
We're going to heal everyone. We're not a thing. We are Venom.
So yeah, as you can tell, I have a good voices, and my dad is constantly telling me, you got to get an agent or something. So yeah, I guess that's something you can definitely say is really unique to me, because especially after the feedback I got from that. So.
Well, first of all, there's a voice acting classic community at Heartland, so interested in that. I took that. Basically, there's so many things, but the one thing that I am very pleased about myself is the perseverance that I've never given up, even if I've incubated for a period. And what I mean by incubated is kind of been in limbo, like, okay, do I want that, do I not, that kind of thing. Or when you gotta do what you gotta do. It was the same thing with the job thing for so long. I did 2 jobs. You know, I did retail, I did geological, I did hotel work and laundry work, but persevered in knowing that, okay, well, you know, what about the other side? What about, you know, a better work-life balance? So perseverance is the main thing. But, you know, if there's one thing that I would say to take with you as far as being on the spectrum or being a caregiver or knowing somebody who is understand what it is they want and need, and be realistic, but be optimistic as hard as it can be. My main thing is to not only never give up, but also realize what you know you're up against, and it's a lifelong journey. And there's no manual, of course, on how to do it. It's a lot of everything. I mean, not just your unwritten rules, not just you know your day-to-day stuff, but it's the main lessons. And sometimes you have to internalize so much, and sometimes you just have to accept that some things are not meant to be, and then also that some things are. And you can find joy in the things you didn't think of or at least expected. So I say perseverance is something to be proud of.
I love doing my sport, or I love sports and being with my teammates, and I do sports through Special Olympics through SOAR, which is all the way back there with Holly. And so I'm involved in basketball, volleyball, softball, soccer, tennis has started this year, so I'm involved in a lot of sports with them.
So I'm really good at math. I'm really proud of my math grades. They are really good. Plus it's also my favorite subject. And I am proud to be that person in the group who is different by loving math other than any other subjects.
I found myself for a lot of reasons. Like, for example, I told you when I was very little, wasn't that smart, and now I can tell you how to calculate decay chains, predict tornado warnings in half an hour in advance, interpret advanced models, and all that stuff. And I've grown a lot of my knowledge, especially in gaming and one of my favorite hobbies, which is numismatics, which is coin collecting, cash collecting. And I've also gotten really, really smart in sciences, especially meteorology, which I hope to pursue, because one day I hopefully will aid the green energy transition by being a wind turbine technician. But again, one of my favorite hobbies is, of course, numismatics, and my collection has swollen to $8,000. And I love meat pennies, and I'm very close to possibly literally taking Champagne and claiming almost every bit of the supply chain of pennies. Very close, but anyway, I don't want to intrude on your break, but if I have to say something, stay happy. Have a nice one. And I actually want to say thank you to everybody who came out here. And by the way, it is very well appreciated that you all did this. To know that all you people cared makes me happy. Have a nice break. Thank you very much.
I think you might be able to speak for all of us that we're all extremely grateful for our audience. But I want to say thank you to each of you for sharing your vulnerabilities, your experiences, and it is brave to get up here and talk about yourself to a room of hundreds of people and not even know how many of you are online as well. So let's just give a huge thank you to our panelists. Woo! We appreciate you. We are grateful for you and can't wait to see what you will do next. And with that, it is up to me to pass it back to send you off to break.